Well, good morning. It is good to see all of you today on this Tuesday morning, day number 24 of our Lent video series. Thank you for tuning in and watching these videos. I have been blessed by just the feedback that many people have given about how these videos have really impacted their life and helped them see Jesus in new and refreshing ways, and maybe in old ways, just revisiting those ways that we can see Jesus. And so I'm glad that this series has meant so much to so many people. But today I'm really excited actually to talk about this next name connected to Jesus, or really it's a phrase connected to Jesus. And this is how Jesus is the light of the world. He's the light of the world, and it really comes from John chapter 8, verse 12. And this is John recording another moment where Jesus is talking with his disciples, and he is speaking to them about different things. But here in verse 12, he actually stops and says, Jesus spoke to them saying, "I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life." You know, light in the Bible, it often represents truth. It represents holiness. It represents divine presence. And darkness is the opposite of light, right? Actually, darkness is the absence of light. And so it represents sin. It represents a separation from God. And really, this world, before Jesus came into this world was nothing more than a land of darkness. And that is why this world needed light, because it was a land, it was a people that was born into sin, and that had nothing else happening except for sin and a separation of God. I took this video just the other day because I knew I was going to talk about how Jesus is the light of the world, and I wanted to take a picture of the youth room here at our church, and what I do is I flip off the lights here, and notice how dark it is. I mean, it's a completely dark room. There's furniture. If I was trying to walk around in this darkness, I would have not found my way at all. I actually flip on the wrong light there briefly, but here's what it looks like when I flip on a light. And this is actually a really cool light in our youth room, where it looks like clouds and stuff like that. And then I decided to walk around in this room with that light on. I could find my way. And that's essentially why it is so incredible that Jesus is the light of the world, because prior to Jesus coming into the world, he was much like that youth room that was completely pitch black with no lights on. Like, without light, it'd be so hard to navigate this world. And that really was the situation prior to Jesus. That was the situation from the very beginning in Genesis chapter 3, when sin entered into this world and fractured this world. Like, from that point forward, we as a people were walking in darkness. And yet God said, "No, I want to send my son into the world, and I want him to be the light of the world." Paul, he has this really cool picture of what this looks like in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 6. And I love this verse. It's one of my favorite verses in the Bible. But this is what Paul said. He said, "For God," and he's pointing out how God, he is the one that initiated it. He said that, for God, who said, "Let light shine out of darkness," has shone in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Jesus Christ. And that's a complete mouthful of words, right? I mean, it's hard to even decipher exactly what Paul is trying to get to. But when you look closely, what he's pointing out is that, God said, "Let there be light." And he wanted light to shine out of darkness, but he also wanted the light to shine into darkness, right? And this darkness was given to each one of us. It was placed inside of each one of us when we received Jesus. in order to give light to the knowledge of the glory of God, that this glory that God has brought into this world that came through Jesus. I mean, I think that's a good way of reading that verse. And what that means is that not only do we have God to be thankful for this, but we have Jesus to be that light, to give us guidance, to give us an ability to walk through a world that is nothing, full of nothing but darkness. And I think that's something to be grateful for, but it's something to celebrate. Like how different our lives would be if we didn't have Jesus being the light of the world. It's not just a Christmas idea. I know sometimes when we think of Jesus being the light of the world, the first thing that we go to is Christmas, right? Because we see that all the time with Christmas cards and so forth, and we sing joy to the world. We talk about Christmas lights, and it all gets connected to Jesus being the light of the world. And yet it's not just a Christmas idea. It really is an idea that we should remember throughout the year, how Jesus is the light of the world. Now, what's exciting is where we also end someday, because in the book of Revelation, this is what it says. It says, and the city has no need of sun or moon to shine on it, for the glory of God gives it light, and its lamp is the Lamb. And so Revelation chapter 21 talks about what things are going to look like someday after Jesus returns and after we are brought into the eternal city, where not only will we stand in the presence of the Lord, but we will stand in the presence of God, and we are in this wonderful place with them where there is no need of sun, no need of a moon to shine on it, because the glory of God will be giving it light, and its lamp comes from who? Yeah, it comes from Jesus, who is the Lamb. And we just talked about the other day on how Jesus is the Lamb of God. You see how all this interconnects? I mean, it's such a wonderful picture, and I just love that. I love how we can rely on Jesus being the light of the world, and we're also going to be in a place that there will be no more darkness, because Jesus is the eternal light. And I think that's such a great picture and such a wonderful reminder for us today. And so what does this mean for us? Well, I think it really just gives us a lot of hope. And it gives us a lot of confidence that even if we feel lost, even if we are stumbling around in confusion, in certain circumstances, in certain relationships or certain struggles, we know that we can lean on the Lord and say, Lord, will you please help me through this? Will you please give me guidance? Will you please shine light into darkness here and help bring clarity to my life? And I believe when you do that, God will answer that prayer. And that clarity comes in the form of what Jesus did for us on the cross, and on the third day rise again. Because Jesus is the light of the world. He brought light into darkness to give us guidance, to give us hope, to give us a future, to give us life. Isn't that a wonderful thing to be thankful for? Well, I'm so thankful that you tuned in for day number 24 here. I wasn't sure if I was going to do this because I don't want these videos to turn into an opportunity to advertise anything, but I do want to just make reference to something that is taking place next Thursday night here at the Grain House on April 10th. And, each year here at American Reformed Church, we put on an Easter worship night, really in order to just gather together as a community and celebrate the true meaning of Easter. And we did have some schedule conflicts with some of the praise teams and people involved. And so I wasn't sure, how this was going to turn out. And I just decided to throw this out there to a friend of mine who lives in Washington State. He's a recording artist. You can find him on Spotify. He has some wonderful Christian albums out there, some wonderful music that really speaks from his heart about what God did and Easter and what Jesus did for us on the cross. I mean, a lot of the songs point to those themes, and I just threw it out there. I'm like, hey, Nate and Nathaniel, do you think you can just come down here and help us out on April 10th? Because I'm having trouble getting some people together to sing a few songs. And he's like, you know what? I can make that work. And so he's going to travel down here, and he's going to help lead our time together with a lot of his own original music, and just really help us worship and make Easter such a meaningful moment. And so I hope you come out to it. The event is free. Bring your friends, bring your neighbors, come down to the Grain House, have some coffee. They'll have some food as well. I know in the past you probably want to get there about 6:30 to make sure you get a table, or 6 o'clock even, and make sure you get your food order in. But it's just going to be a wonderful night of celebration, and it's going to be a great opportunity for us to get together as a community, as a church, and really celebrate the true meaning of Easter. And so, again, I won't advertise this every time we get together here in this format, but I thought I think it would be really important to just invite every one of you out for that. And so hope you come out and join us that night. In the meantime, thank you for tuning in. Continue to look for ways in your life on how Jesus is the light of the world. And if you're walking in darkness today, just ask Jesus to be the light, and he will. He will be there for you. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow on day number 25. Thank you for being a part of this wonderful time together, and many blessings. God bless.